so you've got your provisioning and you've arrived at the base. You've done your walkthrough and your briefing and such. And the next kind of thing to think through is, where are you going? So it depends on what you've booked. If you've booked a regular start time, you're sleeping on the boat and heading out first thing the next morning. What this base offers at a lower rate than I've seen at a lot of the others is an early boarding, which allows you to get on the boat at 3 p.m. And if you do that, you are absolutely welcome and encouraged even. The base will help you, kind of figure out where might be the best place for you to go your first night, which I thought was cool. I heard them talking to several people about, what do they want to see and walking them through specifically, what they should do. So that was cool. But anyway, if you do pay for that early boarding, you can go. And we already had a restaurant reservation, so...
Yeah, and I mean, the cruising ground being, the size it is, whether you're under motor or you have some good wind and can sail, you can get to a lot of places from 3 p.m.
Anywhere.
Of course, we were going close to the summer solstice, so, from 3 p.m. you had almost 5-6 hours of daylight left.
Plan to leave, because it's really a quick, easy check-in process, I thought. I mean, we were done in under an hour, everything.
Yep, absolutely.
Which was great. So really, kind of then you start to think through where are we going? And maybe you've had a chart briefing and maybe you've looked at the itinerary. I think a surprise to me was there's so many options that even the itineraries don't really go over. So, and there's also some things you want to be aware of, with a lot of those options. And I think the main draw, and I would say highlight, was probably the Maddalena Archipelago. Would you agree?
Absolutely. National park, pristine waters, gorgeous beaches. It's really kind of a flexible destination. You're close enough. If you wanted to sail to Corsica, Bonifacio, they allow you to do it. You're close enough to other authentic towns like Canagione, so you can really experience that. Of course, the national park, it's gorgeous. I mean, so many different coves. You can have your pick of them. You won't be able to see them all. And then if you're, a nightlife person, the Costa Smeralda is there. Multiple points that you can go in and party it up if that's your scene. The Italian waters pilot, there's one on board each vessel, but you would purchase one for me 6 months plus in advance, and I would recommend that to anybody. I mean, not only to plan your routes and look at where you would potentially anchor up, but the national park does have zones and rules and regs, and on Rod and Lucinda Heichel's Italian Waters Pilot, page 284, 285, they really go through those. I mean, you just want to make sure you're in the clear for fines and following the rules.
I think it was really cool too. You read it and you study at home, and then you get there and you pull out the Waters Pilot, and it's kind of, where are we going today? And you look at your wind, and maybe it's what was predicted the day before. Often it isn't. So you kind of have a list of places you'd like to see, places you have to see, and you can sort of go where the wind blows you.
Be a little flexible. It's not definitely in the past where you've got an easterly. This is a little bit more, you got to be a little more flexible. It's a little bit more of an adventure. Let's talk about stern to moorings. So definitely a little bit different first time for us with the stern to moorings. How did you feel about it?
I mean, it's definitely intimidating, it being our first time to deal with it. We had watched some videos and sort of kind of knew what to expect, but when they're actually handing you the line and, you're actually pulling in and trying to figure out what to do and when, it was actually, I think, a little bit less chaotic than I expected. Because they have the dinghy. I mean, so many of them would have a dinghy that will come and push your bow where they need it to be, and they hand you the line, so you're not up there with a boat hook fishing around for it like you would be with a mooring ball and, say, the BVI. You're kind of on your own, where here I felt like you had a whole lot of help. Both in the Maddalena and at Canagione, we definitely, from folks handing the stern lines back, and then as you mentioned, the dinghy, who also would grab the slime line and pass it up. So definitely agree there. One thing folks need to know is they need to purchase the park permit. Yes.
to be able to go to La Maddalena, and that covers most of the mooring buoys, I'm pretty sure, and allows you to, traverse and go. I feel like we did it online. It was a fairly simple process. I feel like we needed to download an app to pay because it wouldn't take our card initially.
Right.
But in general, I mean, it was affordable. It was good. The no discharge zone was 3 miles. And as far as the mooring buoys, I mean, most of them are free, but I think
Spalmatore was the one, and that's another thing. I thought the Waters pilot was really cool, because you zero in on kind of where you want to go. And remember, we had, I believe his name was Armando, and it gives you his name, his phone number, and kind of walks you through what to do.
Yep.
So Cala Spalmatore ended up being one of our favorite places, and
Really
it was
was.
70 euros for the mooring boat?
70 euros. No one can anchor, though. They're privately owned. They're not part of the Maddalena. But as far as, when we wharfed up in Canagione in the middle of the week to rewater, and then also in La Maddalena to explore that town, I mean, the fees for mooring were
A fraction of what I expected.
Yeah. I mean, I think, granted, we were on a 30-foot
Monohull.
boat, but I mean, I think we were at maybe $32 in La Maddalena, 40 euros midweek in Canagione. So,
Certainly way less expensive than I expected.
Right.
Absolutely. And I thought the facilities were great also. I mean, you could fill up your water if you needed. There are showers. Maybe you have to pay a couple euro coin to use them, but they're pristine and well kept.
Yeah, and on that note, definitely saw the La Maddalena had an ice chest too in the same facility where they have the showers. So, I think that's a good overview of the national park in general.
Mm-hmm.